Hey guys, I'm Evan. Welcome to Country View Acres. So today, it's new equipment day. Well, I should probably say new to me equipment day. I'm actually getting a new piece of fabrication equipment and I'm buying it off of another YouTuber. They're gonna be here in a little bit. So while we're waiting, we'll head out, we'll feed Ellie, and we'll check out the new calf. Just one scoop, twice a day. Morning, Ellie. Morning, Teddy. I got food for you. Come around. There she comes. Come on. There you go. Teddy, you look like Mark Twain. You got a piece of straw hanging out of your mouth. Or maybe it's Huck Finn. One of those two. You gonna eat that thing? Well, that looks like he may be trying to eat hay for the first time. Of course, he's only like 5 days old right now. Now I better put pallet forks on the tractor so I can unload this new piece of equipment. And the new piece of equipment is going to go in this first bay here in the workshop. So I think it's going to sit somewhere in here. And then I ran a 50 amp welding receptacle right here for it to be able to plug into. And I've been wanting to buy one of these for a while now. Probably been looking at them for like 3 years or more. And the one I'm buying today, it is used, but it has been upgraded considerably. So it's way better than like one you would buy from the factory. Well, here he is pulling in. All right, Kyle from Spicer Designs, he just showed up here. I've been talking with Kyle for probably over a year now.
Yeah.
But this is actually the first time that we have met in person.
Yeah.
So he brought me a brand new machine today, but Kyle is probably the closest YouTuber to me. He's probably like an hour and 40 minutes, something like that away.
Yeah, it was actually a little less than that. It was not a bad drive at all.
Yeah, so tell, if you guys aren't familiar with Kyle and Spicer Designs, well, tell them about your channel.
So I'm located in southern Indiana, and we have a huge variety on the channel. There's really never same content posted week by week, but I try to post every Saturday morning, and I'm doing a lot of property upgrades right now. We just purchased a timber frame cabin almost 3 years ago, so I'm doing a lot to get that all put together and situated the way we want it. And then aside from that, I'll do a lot of stuff with equipment, kind of similar to what you do with equipment. You just kind of use yours in a different way with all the homesteading, where I'm using mine to kind of like rebuild our property. And then I do a lot of metal fabricating. I just partnered up with Boss Tables, so I do a lot of CNC plasma cutting on the channel, some laser engraving, and I try to grab like a unique project once in a while too, like the spicy dump we're working on. It's a Japanese little mini dump truck. It's a really cool little project. A lot of people are liking that little series that I'm doing. So if you come check out the channel, there's probably going to be something that you might be interested in.
Yeah, he's got quite a little bit of variety. It's almost like two things. Like he has the excavator, and he's got a tractor, and he's doing a lot of equipment stuff, and he's been landscaping around his pond. He's got a cabin and a pond, kind of similar to us.
Yeah, very similar.
And then inside the shop, that's where he's got the CNC plasma cutter and the lasers, and he does different projects in there.
Yeah, I try to keep it somewhat entertaining and something different every week.
Yeah, he's kind of, if you will check out his channel, Kyle's kind of got his own little goofy little humor that he kind of tosses in there. He's got his own little style of trying to keep it somewhat interesting as his video progresses.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a union electrician for 20 years, and I'm no longer doing that now, but working construction for over 20 years, you know, there's a little bit of an edge to the channel. Yeah. But a lot of people enjoy it. It's fun. Yeah,
he's got his own unique style, that's for sure.
Yeah, I like to catch people off guard, you know.
Yeah.
That's like, and I'll tell you what, like, that's the kind of stuff where you catch someone off guard, and a lot of times people will comment and be like, well, as soon as you said this or that, like, I subscribed. Yeah. I don't know, it just resonates with them, but And a lot of times, like, they might be thinking it themselves, and then you say it, and they're like, I can't believe you said that. So,
He said what we all think.
yeah.
Yeah, but then there's a little bleep mixed in there.
Yeah, I don't mind using some bleeps here or there.
So in the back of his truck is a new piece of equipment that we got. And we're going to grab the tractor, we're going to get it unloaded, get it set up in the shop, and we'll show you what it is.
It's lightly used.
Slightly used, looks brand new. He takes very good care of his equipment, way better than I do. So this just magnetizes on here?
Yeah.
Like in those pinholes? Oh, it's already wanting to try to attach.
It'll self-adjust.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty slick right there. The pads or the rollers?
Yeah. It's on the rollers right now. Yeah, you can roll it.
Let's roll it around. Let's see if we can spin it and get it closer to that plug-in. So right here's a new piece of equipment I got. This is a CNC plasma table. And what this is, you know I love my plasma cutter. It's actually one of my favorite things to use. And this is a CNC plasma cutter, so you can cut out signs and different things, but it's just way more accurate, and I can cut out accurate parts, and I plan to use it for fabrication here in the future. But Kyle's had this machine for how long now?
I think about 4 years or so. It was before I even had a YouTube channel.
Oh, so yeah, he's had it for quite a while. Thing looks brand new for being 4 years old. But he's done a bunch of upgrades to it, and he knows way more about this than me. So I'm going to have him walk you through this machine and go over it.
So just a basic rundown on it, because I'm sure not everyone's interested in all like the specific details. But these little CNC plasma tables are not as intimidating as you might think they are. The software is probably more intimidating than anything. The table themselves are pretty simple. This particular one is a Langmuir Crossfire Pro. It is, it's somewhat of a budget-friendly, like entry-level table, maybe more for like a hobbyist, but you could still use it for like a small business. It's only about 240 pounds or so. It's got a water table on it that you fill up with water, and as you cut material, it'll keep the material cool and help from warping. It'll also help dissipate smoke. The cut dimensions on this thing are roughly about 33 inches deep by 48 inches wide, and you could fit a full like 4x8 sheet on here, but you'd have to have some extra supports on one end, which you're probably going to want to find something to rig.
I think I'll end up building something so I can fit a full sheet.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing that can be a bit of a pain, is just messing around with full sheets on this table, being that it doesn't cut a full sheet. Otherwise, basically you just go in the software, which we're going to do a little bit later. You can design your parts, and then you bring it into another program that communicates directly with this table, and it'll just zip that part out for you. The table itself only requires 120 volts, just a regular household outlet, and all that does is power the controller on the side of it. Basically has like a little computer built into it for the most part. I mean, it's more considered a controller, and this is what connects to all your stepper motors on all your different axes and all these screws here, and those are what move everything around. The main part of it that requires the most power is the plasma cutter, and you can pick what plasma cutter you want. This plasma cutter came with this machine. It's kind of a plug and play system, and this is a 45 amp. So your plasma cutter does need to be compatible with like a CNC table, and a lot of them are now. But other than that, that's really it. Basically just your cut dimensions. It's pretty simple little machine.
So all I need to run this table, like Kyle was saying, you need a 120 volt outlet, you need a 50 amp outlet for your plasma cutter, you got to put water in the table, and then you just need an air compressor to hook up to it. And I've got all those things ready. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to try to get this all leveled up, get the water in the machine. We're going to have to get our laptop set up and everything, and then hopefully we'll be cutting apart here in a minute.
Man, you get some good concrete, guys. We'll move a little bit on you.
Okay.
grabs it, which it is, because it's like, I'll pick it up.
All right, me and Kyle have been messing with this for a while. We were trying to make a sign that says Country View Acres on it, and took us a while to make it. I think we got one lined out. Now we're just trying to get all the settings right so that it cuts through my steel, because this steel is a little bit thicker than than Kyle normally cuts. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna hit the start button, and this thing should automatically cut out a sign. All right, after 3 attempts, we finally got roughly a Country View Acres sign. I don't know how well you can see it. So we do have one piece here that we're gonna have to break off. Didn't quite cut perfectly. Now it's broken off. So, not too bad. We gotta clean it up. There's a bunch of dross and from cutting it with the plasma cutter. So we'll have to shine up both sides, and then I can paint this and I can hang it on the wall. All right, it's the next day now, and Kyle was here, I think, till after 7 o'clock last night, and then he had to drive all the way home. So I know he had a really late night. I do appreciate him going to the effort of loading up the plasma table, bringing it down to me, helping me get it set up, and then walking me through the entire process. So he spent the whole day here with me just so I could learn how to use this machine. So I do appreciate all the extra effort that he did yesterday. And if you guys aren't familiar with Kyle, his YouTube channel is Spicer Designs. He's got a wide variety of content. So he does some excavator content. He's got 2 mini excavators. And then he also does some fabrication in the shop with like a plasma table. He's got a really large plasma table now. And then he also has laser engravers and stuff like that. So he's got a lot of neat little equipment to make stuff. And right now, I think he's sitting around 98,000 subscribers. He's almost to 100,000 subscribers, which is like a major milestone for YouTubers. So if you guys want to check him out, check out his channel. If you like his content, please subscribe and help him get to that 100,000. And on that same note, I'm getting closer to 200,000 subscribers on YouTube. So if you guys aren't subscribed, I'd appreciate it also. So the first thing I want to do today is finish up the sign that we cut out yesterday. So I just need to get this cleaned up and ready for paint. And then I want to try to make it a double layer sign so that it has 2 different colors. So we'll have to cut out a second layer, and then we'll have to put them together and then hang it on the wall. I think it'll turn out pretty cool. Now I need to go ahead and make the back of the sign. So here's the back of the sign. We got some little keyhole slots in here to hang it on the wall. We also have a few holes to be able to mount the 2 signs together. It's a little bit bigger than this one. So when we stack them up, we should show a different color around the edge, and then we'll see a different color through the letters. So I'm just going to use some little standoffs to attach the front and the back of the sign together. So if I made everything right, the front of the sign should be able to fit right on. Now hopefully you guys can tell what I'm going for. So it's more of like a 3-dimensional sign. So the back is going to be one color, the front's going to be another. So just take it apart and paint it. Well, my white spray paint can stopped working, and it was like a full can too. And it's not the nozzle. I took the nozzle off and it still won't spray. It's like inside the can. You could tell it was like thick stuff coming out right before it plugged up. So that was my last can of white paint. But I think the paint I was using was the wrong paint anyway. I really think since I don't have the greatest finish in the world on there, I really need to use like flat paint so that you don't see all the scratch marks from the grinder and stuff. So I'll have to go get some flat black and some flat white and I'll get this finished up. But right now I want to move on to something more practical. And when I say something practical, I mean something that I can make for the tractor. So what I want to make is a brush guard for the front of the tractor. And you can buy aftermarket ones. I think ITC Attachments make some. But what a brush guard is, it's going to bolt into here because you got this big opening where when you're picking up brush, a stick could go through, break this plastic, go into like where the radiator is. So I want to try to make a piece that fits in here, but it'll be vented. It'll have like little holes in it, but nothing a big stick could go through. So I'm going to take some measurements of the inside of the brush guard, and then I'm going to come up with a design, and then we'll cut it out. I'll have to bend it, may have to do a little bit of welding, and then we'll see if we can fit it onto the tractor. All right, it's the next day. I've got my signs painted again, this time with flat paint. I also got my design for the brush guard made, so I'm ready to go ahead and cut it out. All right, here we go. This brush guard's got about 100 holes in it, so this is gonna take a while. It ran for just over a half an hour. It was almost done cutting and it ended up messing up where it wasn't cutting all the way through, and I wasn't necessarily sure how to recover from that, and I've been trying to work through it. Turned out the nozzle was bad, and I've got it most of the way cut out. There's a few spots in here where it's not. So if you look right here, you can see it's cutting through the metal, and then it wasn't cutting through. Right here it's still connected, and then up here I got a spot that is still connected. And I've tried several times to get this machine to try to go back over these spots to see if we can get it to cut out. Not having much luck, so I'm just gonna grab my other plasma cutter, and I'm just gonna cut these couple areas by hand. There we go. And it's free. All right, I got the piece all cleaned up for the new brush guard. You see I used a bunch of hexagons, you know, to make like a honeycomb pattern in there. And then on the sides, we've got 4 tabs that are sticking out here on the sides. They've got like a little bigger than a 1/4 inch hole so that we can bolt it to the tractor, but I need to bend these like 90 degrees so that they can bolt into the side of the existing bumper, more or less, that's on the front of the tractor. And the other thing is, this is perfectly straight. The existing brush guard bumper thing that it has, wouldn't call it really a brush guard, but it is curved. It's not straight. So we're gonna have to take this and bend it and give it a little bit of a curve to match the front of the tractor. And I was gonna do some of this bending on the hydraulic press, but the tabs actually aren't long enough to get in there. So I'm gonna do all this by hand on the welding table. So this is my bending brake in the hydraulic press, and this is like about as big as you can fit in there. Try our best to make sure this is straight. Have a little bit of spring back. Well, I'm shooting for like 7.5 degrees on each side, so that side looks good. And this side's 6.7, so we're less than a degree off. That was a pretty slight angle, but hopefully you can tell from the side it looks a little more curved now. We'll go test fit it again. Oh yeah, that actually fits really well. I was hoping for it to fit right about center with that bar at the top. I just need to drill holes, or drill and tap holes, so we can mount this to the front. I think it'll be easier if I just go ahead and take this front bumper off of here. I think it's just 2 bolts and then we can do all the work in the shop. Must have been spacers that was in there. These may be difficult to get back in. Just gonna take a transfer punch to mark where to drill it out. Well, I just sharpened this drill bit. We'll see if it works. Probably be easier to do this with a little down pressure. I'm gonna try to power tap this. Hopefully we don't break it off. Right through. Yeah, I picked this up. This is from Irwin, but it holds a tap in one end and then it fits into a socket on the other end. Kind of handy. I got 2 different sizes. And then I'm just using anchor lube for cutting fluid. Just got some 1/4 20 bolts. Now we got it all bolted together, so now we put it back on the tractor, test fit it. Everything's okay, we'll get it painted up. Well, the guard isn't hitting at all, but this thing's not wanting to go shut. Now I see it. One of the heads of the bolts that I put through sticks out enough to hit. So it looks like I just need to grind off the tips of the bolts and I'll be good. So if I just back this bolt out a little bit, yep, now it locks in place. So I just either need to cut them off or find a shorter bolt. All right, let's go ahead and paint this up. So after 2 projects with the CNC plasma cutter, definitely has a learning curve. I think I'm catching on fairly quickly. My biggest problem is that my air is not dry. You have to have very dry air for a plasma cutter. Wears the tips out a lot quicker, and that's what ended up happening here. The tip wore out before I was done cutting because it was over a half an hour to cut that out. So I did buy this. This is a desiccant dryer, and that'll help dry out the air a little bit more. I'm gonna add that into the system. It should help. And another improvement I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my 60 amp plasma cutter, I'm gonna hook it up to the table. When I originally bought this is actually made for a CNC machine. It's got the CNC hookups on it. I bought this with the intention that down the road I would later get a plasma table. So we're gonna put this on there. That higher amperage is gonna allow me to cut out thicker metal, and I'll be able to cut out parts for all my welding projects. All right, the paint is now dry on the brush guard. I think it turned out pretty good. So I've got some shorter bolts, 1/2 inch long. Let's go ahead and get it bolted up to the tractor, see how it looks. So now that the loader's in the air, we can get a closer look at this. I'm really happy with the way this has all turned out. I think it looks good. It's protected all the way to the top. We're protected really all the way to the bottom. I don't think anything's gonna get through here and break through the grill on the tractor. I think it's gonna do a good job. And if you go out and buy a brush guard like this, you're gonna spend around $300. And if it's a bigger tractor, you're probably gonna spend more than that. So I've saved around $300 on the second project that I've made with the plasma table. So I think, you know, I've got a lot of ideas, and I keep coming up with new ones every day. So I think over the course of the next year or two, I think the table is going to end up paying for itself, and the stuff I make with it is going to look way better than anything I could have done with hand tools. So I just got the sign put together. I thought it turned out pretty good. I switched the colors. I put white in the front, black in the back. I was having some weird shadow effects. So I think this ended up looking better with the darker color in the background. So yeah, pretty happy with how this turned out. Now remember, I put these keyhole slots, you know, on the back here. They're 7 inches apart from each other. So now I just got to find a spot somewhere in the shop, maybe on the other side of the shop, and I'll get this hung up. And it'll be kind of like a permanent decoration in here. This is my first plasma table project. Kind of neat, not perfect, but it still looks pretty good. So hopefully you guys can see the possibilities with this machine, being able to cut out intricate parts and intricate designs. I think it's gonna come in super handy. I'm not gonna go into a lot of detail over that machine. I'm not gonna try to show people how it works or anything like that. If you guys are interested in that and you wanna learn how the whole process is, you have to go over to Kyle's channel at Spicer Designs, and he's got tutorials and he's got a bunch of stuff on how to make signs and how to run the machine. So if you're interested in that, go over to his channel and watch his videos. In my videos, you're probably just gonna see parts getting cut out and me welding them together. I'm not gonna go in, I'm not gonna go into super detail on that, but it will be a tool that I will be using in the fabrication process, and I think it'll help speed some things up. So I think that's gonna be it for today's video, guys. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.